We're going to take a closer look at one of America's worst natural disasters, the earthquake that ravaged San Francisco 100 years ago today, and whether the city is prepared for the next big one. In San Francisco, sirens wailed before dawn today, marking the moment the earthquake hit. A dozen survivors attended a commemoration and thousands of residents turned out for a parade downtown. A survivor once described the earthquake as rocking his bedroom like a boat on the sea. Much of San Francisco came tumbling down, but what would happen if the quake hit today? ABC's Brian Rooney takes a closer look.
The Great Quake of 1906 destroyed 28,000 buildings, 95% of them by fires that raged for 3 days. San Francisco was rebuilt bigger, but not necessarily better. Pat Buskovich is an engineer who says at least 80% of the buildings were built before modern code.
We can walk around as a group, engineers, and point out building after building after building that not may be damaged, but we would be shocked if they stood up.
Apartments with storefronts, townhouses with garages known as soft stories, are unable to support upper floors in a big quake. Few are shored up with steel beams like these. 100 years ago, the population of the Bay Area was 800,000, and at least 3,000 people died. Today, the population is 7 million, and if the casualty rate were the same, at least 26,000 people would be killed. This is an engineer's conception of how the Golden Gate Bridge would dance if the Great Quake hit again. Danger comes from the Hayward Fault along the East Bay, which runs right through the UC Berkeley football stadium. The San Andreas Fault cuts south of San Francisco, which itself is built on sand, sediment, and landfill that could turn to jello. The shakiest ground may be the Marina area, where this is what happened in 1989.
The ground here shook 10 times harder than just in the hills behind us.
The fire department has the most sophisticated water systems and extensive emergency plans, but this city may just be in the wrong place.
A good deal of San Francisco strikes me as New Orleans 100 years later and the levees were never properly fixed.
Right now, I would say a good portion of San Francisco is exactly like that.
The quake that rippled through here in 1906 was the start of what scientists know about earthquakes. What science does not explain is how people can love this place so much they're willing to live with the risk. Brian Rooney, ABC News, San Francisco.